or I want to have a goal set in mind. I know I'm not somebody that's always setting these New Year's resolutions and yada yada yada. But one thing that I want to touch on and sort of get into is how, right, the James Ramblin Show, one of the things that I have noticed is that we have the same camera most of the time, and it's like the 72p like camera on my laptop, where it's not exactly the most high quality camera. Like, for example, we have all these cameras where you've got 4K and it's all very, very cool to look at, and these production values are high and things of that nature. I'm not trying to say I want to be a Hollywood movie production where it looks so good and the CGI is epic and all the camera shots are awesome, but I just want to improve the camera more so that the quality looks better, and so that our live on air camera our live on air thing, right, this thing here, right, if the audio listeners, right, this live on air thing that I got, right, it's not very good on camera, which is why I've actually put it to the side for episodes to mix up the lighting, but now that's repetitive. I just want to have a better camera. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, is that's my goal 2024, is to get a 1080p high quality kind of camera setting sort of thing to set up when we talk, because I still want to continue the James Ramlin Show, but I want to have better high quality sort of camera stuff. So once
You are about to experience the James Ramblin Show, hosted by James Patton.
Happy New Year, welcome back to the James Ramblin Show for yet another episode. In today's episode, yes, this is the new year, the first ever James Ramblin Show episode of 2024. I know we did 3 reviews, and I'll link those down below, but this is the first ever episode of 2024, and I will be discussing a few things, but one thing we're going to be touching on, especially in this episode, is maybe some stuff that I want to improve about the James Ramblin Show, or I want to have a goal set in mind. I know I'm not somebody that's always setting these New Year's resolutions and yada yada yada, but one thing that I want to touch on and sort of get into is how, right, the James Ramblin Show, one of the things that I have noticed is that we have the same camera most of the time, and it's like the 72p like camera on my laptop, where it's not exactly the most high quality camera. Like, for example, we have all these cameras where you've got 4K and it's all very, very cool to look at, and these production values are high and things of that nature. I'm not trying to say I want to be a Hollywood movie production where it looks so good and the CGI is epic and all the camera shots are awesome, but I just want to improve the camera more so that the quality looks better, and so that our live on air camera our live on air thing, right, this thing here, right, if the audio listeners, right, this live on air thing that I got, right, it's not very good on camera, which is why I've actually put it to the side for episodes to mix up the lighting, but now that's repetitive. I just want to have a better camera. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, is that's my goal 2024, is to get a 1080p high quality kind of camera setting sort of thing to set up when we talk, because I still want to continue the James Ramlin Show, but I want to have better high quality sort of camera stuff. So once you get outside of that kind of stuff, right, what else have I got for you to talk about? Well, I actually have this very, very interesting story that I never got to touch on in episode 100, because we were covering, the anniversary, 2 years of the James Ramblin Show and stuff like that. So I want to say a week or two ago, right, I actually got hungover. Now, I know we talked about this last year about how I actually got hungover, but last year was kind of terrible. Like, episode 51 or whatever, that was terrible, because you know why? Because I actually never got hungover. I thought I was hungover, but I had a couple beers. I was up doing the toilet because my body wasn't used to having that much beer. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm hangover. No, I was just half cut, a bit hyper and stuff like that. So just to give you a bit of context into this story, right? So when it comes to that, right? So pretty much, right, I had this whole experience with my dad, Stuart's dad, Stuart as well, where we went to snooker again, and I have talked about how I went to snooker in like August or something, right? And you also got Adam, like my sister's boyfriend or whatever. One of my sister's boyfriends was there as well. He was a new addition to the whole crew. So we were playing snooker, right, stuff like that. But then I actually had 5 beers, and I kid you not, I actually thought I was drunk, and I actually was drunk because I couldn't feel my face, and I was like, oh no, I'm rolling, and I'm... And when we were driving home, right, it was like this thing where I was like, oh, it's the streets are AI generated, and it was really, really weird for me because I never experienced this before. And so you have that, but then there's this other layer to this story where I actually had this interesting moment in the following day where, right, I actually had like yogurt and orange juice, but what I didn't realize was the fact that you shouldn't be doing that, right, because then you get sick. So I had a bit of square sausage and a bit of tea, and I felt better after that, and I did recover throughout the day. I did that. And so it was an interesting little experience for me because this was my first time actually getting hungover, which is something I've never shared before on the James Ramblin' Show. Okay, I did mention, oh, I got hungover, but I really didn't, right? I didn't really know what I was talking about in that scenario, but this time we definitely got hungover. So once you get outside of that, where I want to improve the camera, where I got hungover, what else are we going to dabble into for the James Ramblin' Show episode 101, or the first episode of 2024? Well, we're going to kick off 2024 with an absolute banger from Rivera. Now, what am I talking about, right? So if you don't know about me, maybe you've not been tuning in the past month especially, but I actually have this friend called Rico. He puts out this music with his band called Rivera. They only started like this year, a couple months ago. They had this song called Torn, but recently they had a new song out, and I want to actually play this and talk about it because they actually just put out another banger, and I can't believe that they are on top of the world because, you know what I mean? This is a band that's just starting out, but they've got this good production value. It all sounds nice, and so I will play this for you. Right, I know we're kind of shilling and milking the hell at my friend's band, but I don't care. We love this stuff and want to talk about it. So yeah, let's get into it, right? I will obviously link it below, but you gotta listen to this, right? This is top tier work right here. Just wait for the singing as well, it gets better, trust me. Just wait for the chorus. We've played the chorus preview, but this is... Just wait for this stuff, man. The syncing, the echoing, it's all great, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I might just play the whole song. It deserves it. It deserves its credit, honestly. Let's just go for it. Sun won't end too long, so guess we're retained, and all I need is to sail away all my melon ship. I'll go to the bit where it's like, is it this bit here? Yeah, I think this is it. Just wait, this is... Oh, hola. To sail away from you. Alright, I think you get the point though. So that's... Let me pause this please, alright, so... So that's their new song called Melon Ship, and definitely it is some very top tier content because this is a band, right, that's just starting out, but they have this very big production value, right? A lot of echoing, a lot of good mixing, a lot of good timing as well. Like the vocals are on point, and everything is just great about it. And the fact that this song actually sounds nothing like the previous just goes to show you that they're not trying to do this thing where the music industry makes the same genre, makes the same sounding thing over and over and over and over again. They're actually trying to put out quality and not quantity. That's what I love about it, right? I know I'm somebody that's loved things that sound the same or look the same or it's the same thing, but sometimes when we're trying to mix up the bag, get things feeling a bit more different here, it is awesome to see. And so there's definitely that kind of stuff where we've got Rever's new band song thing happening. So what else can we even dabble into here? So there's another thing that we could actually talk about in this episode is that I actually had an interesting experience with Just Eat again. Now I know I talked about this a couple weeks ago where I had this skill issue about how, oh, I can't order food properly. I don't know the definition of a price because I paid for £70 worth of Domino's rather than getting good deals, and this whole thing about this whole thing being delayed, this whole delivery got delayed. But I actually think McDonald's just became goated, and the reason why I think they're actually pretty decent is the fact that, right, I had this experience where McDonald's, right, I know I've had this history on the James Ramlin show where I'm like, oh, McDonald's is kind of bad and all that kind of stuff, and it's related back to the hot takes on food. But one thing about this whole thing was how they were on time, like they actually got this food for me like 30 minutes, 40 minutes earlier than I expected, and that says a lot about McDonald's, right? It is actual fast food, no delays or anything. I will say that McDonald's isn't actually that bad, right? I know I've meme it and I kind of milk it where I'm like, I just go like, it's bad, guys, it's bad, it's mediocre. But I actually thought this was kind of an interesting one because, I had this McSpicy burger going on and I never had it before. And it was supposed to be 100% spicy. It wasn't 100% spicy, obviously, because that's what McDonald's does. They like to advertise things that they're more than they actually are, sort of thing. But I enjoyed it because I've never had it before, and it was a bit of an interesting mix because I never usually have burgers like these at McDonald's. And I got my mum like this Big Mac and things of that nature, but there's not really that much sauce on there. So there's definitely that, and also, right, I do actually like the milkshakes from McDonald's. I don't totally hate McDonald's. It's more of just a meme and an exaggeration. I like to have it every now and again, so I definitely got that Just Eats experience for you. So what else can I even talk about in this episode? You know what, right? I actually have we have a bit more of an interesting one, like a current thing that happened as of late where Japan earthquakes happened. Now I know this is coming out of nowhere, but I thought I would kind of dabble into this sort of thing. So there's been this, 2024, right? We try and have a good new happy new year, right? We've got good vibes going on with Rico and his band and things, but I thought I would talk about this sort of thing because it's quite interesting that the fact that Japan was hit with this earthquake, and it's quite sad. Quite sad, and let's see here, right? I've got some articles, right? So we're kind of continuing what we've been doing since last year, but we'll go here, right? So Japan earthquake latest, right? And I thought I'd touch on this because I am somebody that kind of is interested in Japan, so it might as well go for that. So I've got an article. So it says here, Japan earthquake latest, at least 55 killed in Japan, another quake reported, warning for next 7 days, right? So there's this whole earthquake that happened, and I think there's like the tsunami that happened as well, which is quite insane stuff. Like Japan has had this thing in the past. I think there was one in 2011, and I think I should still try and do an episode where I talk about earthquakes and things of that nature and like natural disasters. Because let's see if there's actually one about the tsunami. Right, Japan tsunami 2024, wasn't it? Right. Tsunami, like, it's a Japanese word, I don't know that, but let's see. Tsunami 2024. Let me see if I can find it, right? Come on. So that says here, it's like satellite photos of Japan earthquake. Oh, no, it doesn't. It says 20 versus 20. I thought it was a tsunami as well, or maybe just making that up, but right, so there's definitely that kind of stuff where I'm kicking off the new year, I want a new camera, and I've got this whole thing with the experience of actually being drunk and hangover and all of these like Revere and things of that nature. But there's also this other thing that I actually want to dabble into for a few minutes where, right, I don't know if I ever talked about this guy, but there was this whole recent thing where there was actually this Jeffrey Epstein Island list. Now, I know we don't talk about this, this is quite a touchy topic, but Jeffrey Epstein is this guy that's quite a weird character that's, has this island with all these children on it and things, and I'm not going to say anything that will get me on a list here. I just wanted to talk about this recent event where it actually got leaked who was on the island, and so it was interesting because there was like, I think there was Stephen Hawkins and things. It was insane stuff, man. It just gives us something to say. So here we go, right? Independent.co.uk. The Epstein list, full list of names revealed in unsealed court records so far, right? And I'm just saying this right now. I don't actually support Jeffrey Epstein or anything. We just want to cover it. So it says Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton are among the more than 100 people named in newly published legal documents linked to the pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, right? So you get that. I'm not going to go through the entire article because we would just bore you like a crazy mad dog, but here's some of the names on this list. So you've got Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, David Copperfield, I don't know that is, John Colony, Alan, blah blah blah, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, the guy in Killers of the Flower Moon, was on here as well. What the heck? Al Gore, Stephen Hawking, we mentioned that. Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson, I'm not too surprised about because if you know about his history, especially, you kind of know he's a bit of an interesting character. Right, there's quite a lot of names on here. I'm just looking through it now, and it's crazy to see how many people are on this island. Like I keep doom scrolling. I keep scrolling through my phone, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. Oh my goodness, that there's too many names on this list. It kind of says a lot about Jeffrey Epstein, doesn't it? He's too easy to convince people to come to his island, and there's like this interesting conspiracy about Jeffrey Epstein, but we're not gonna get into that whole thing because we're not gonna sour you with depression or anything because I just wanted to talk about that. But I just remembered there was another interesting current thing that happened where Mickey Mouse became public domain. Now I know we haven't actually dabbled into this, but Mickey Mouse is like Disney actually made it so that people can use the rights of Mickey Mouse now, and Mickey Mouse is a big thing with Disney, obviously, and so there's that. Right, let's look this up. Right, Mickey Mouse public domain. Give me one sec. And I know I loved Mickey Mouse as a kid. It is kind of interesting that they did this, to be honest. Is there even a reason why they did it? We'll have to look up that, right? So let me give a second, right? Public domain. So I've got an article, right? This was actually 6 days ago, right? From bbc.co.uk. I'll link that in below, obviously. So Disney's earliest Mickey and Minnie Mouse enter public domain as US copyright expires. So Steamboat Willie, a 1928 short film, blah blah blah, right? Like that. So it says, but Disney warned that modern versions of Mickey are still covered by copyright. So it's this whole thing with like this whole Disney thing happening, and it's this people like there's this whole thing about how there's going to be this slasher movie with Mickey Mouse, and people are going to have the rights to do that, and it's crazy stuff happening, right? So we can look that up as well, right? Mickey, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I think it's influenced people to even do it. So Mickey Mouse slasher. There's a lot of weird current events that are happening in 20. We're only 6 days into the new year, and we've already got these crazy ideas and everything. So there's this whole article right now that I just found about how the Canadian director reimagines Mickey Mouse in violent slasher film, quote unquote, why not, right? You might know him as Disney's most iconic figure, but a Canadian horror director has other ideas, right? Okay. The earliest iteration of Mickey Mouse entered public domain on January 1st, right? Blah, 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 blah. The famous, blah, blah, the Steamboat Willie we mentioned already. But where's the interesting part here is that, right? Mickey Mouse's Trap, directed from screenplay, blah blah blah. Right, Mickey Mouse, and begins killing attendees. Oh man, what is going on right now? This is really weird. This is a really weird scenario that we're in right now. Like, I never thought, if you told me in a million years we would be witnessing some Mickey Mouse horror movie ideas, you'd kind of go, if you're not right. I guess it kind of makes sense in the sense because you can literally make anything scary now. Like, we even had that, like, make that whole, like, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie where these people took this, like, low budget with all these costumes and made it into a movie. It made millions of dollars, but it actually failed at it. It actually was like a failure because it was silly and it had all these terrible costuming and a costume design and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that whole escapade dabbles into itself and where it goes. Because I don't know if I'd ever watch that. I know I've been dabbling into horror movies more and more, but trying to make Mickey Mouse into a horror movie sounds weird, especially because most Mickey Mouse stuff it's more happy and light-hearted. So there's definitely that kind of stuff, right? We've definitely kicked off 2024 in an interesting light, but I don't know if there's a lot more topics, but I have said a lot in this episode already, so this might be a shorter episode of the James Ramblin' Show, but I hope you enjoyed this episode of the James Ramblin' Show, and we'll stay tuned for more like it. I somehow made it. I'm somehow over 100 episodes now, which is even insane to me. I still can't get over that. So yeah, bye. We'll see you next week for another episode on the James Ramblin' Show. Yeah, bye, 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 bye. See you next week.